Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Convo with Nikki. So those who have no idea, what is it? What is Convo with Nikki? So Convo with Nikki was created 4 years ago as a platform and a place where I could be as transparent as I want to be, say what I want to say, kind of. This is a place where I share my life and experiences and thoughts, ultimately that it helps somebody else to a place. And so today, usually I have a topic. Sometimes I get on, I don't have a topic, and it just flows, and I just kind of say what I want to say. And then it ends up being something. And so today I have a topic in mind, and so I just want to kind of like take a minute. It's called, if you saw it, it says Shattered Pieces. And so one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about is relationships. However, it can be for anything as I started to think about it a little more. I didn't, hold on, you guys. Sorry. It can be for some other things, but it's definitely going to work, or as a thought process. And so I am 38 years old. In my lifetime, I've probably had, I'm not going to count, but I've had a few relationships. And so as I've gotten older, I have realized that there is a lack of trust in most people, but also a lack of patience in others. And so what does that mean? How is that valid? What are you talking about? And so there's this thought process for people that, hey, I'm dealing with you. Trust me, I got you. Those are kind of like some famous words that you get to hear, especially because most relationships, there's a party who is in need of something and the other person is supposed to provide it. And so sometimes we kind of get into this place of an accountability of trust and a lack of patience. And so, Nicole, what are you talking about? Where are you going? So in my 38 years, trust wasn't a thing that we kind of like assumed had to be like given. Right? It was kind of a thing that you earned. But eventually, after earning it, it's given to you. And so being not necessarily a senior in age, because I'm not necessarily that old, but you have to remember that people have given that thing to people before. So as they have grown into relationships, it's not as easy to give that thing to you now. And so I'm kind of like appealing to those who feel like, for one, who are worried about giving those pieces back or giving those things to someone openly, but also appealing to the people who have to wait for it to be given to them. And so I named it Shattered Pieces. Shattered Pieces are, from my experience, I can't necessarily bank it on everybody else's, but I've had 2 conversations with 2 totally different people, and this is a thing. Right. And so one of the things that for me is that in some of my earlier relationships, was so willing to trust that person. I hadn't really experienced hurt or experienced loss of trust. I wanted to trust that person, so I did. But over the years, after trusting someone and they continue to drop the ball, here at 38, I'm not as easy to hand you my trust and say, you can have all of me. Right? There's some work that's going to be needed and some proof to be given that you are who you said you are, because those people before you who I trusted gave it to them and they dropped me, and I became shattered pieces that I alone had to piece together to get the person that you are that I am today for you. And so it may sound, and I'm not saying compare. I'm not saying you have to compare relationships, because what I am saying is that my brokenness got me to a place of not trusting. It don't have nothing to do with the person, but everything to do with my experience. And so if you are in a relationship with a woman, or a male for that matter, who have some broken places and pieces, be patient enough to understand that they didn't get that way overnight. So I hear a lot of people saying, well, I shouldn't have to pay for somebody else's mistakes, and I shouldn't have to deal with somebody. If you choose to deal with that person, then that means that you're choosing to deal with their brokenness that may have come from somebody else. Not you're compared to the person, But it's going to require some patience for you to become the thing that they need, or for them to trust you to be what you say you are. If you fell off of a porch, right? You know, some of those porches have those steps, and it's like this real short step, and you kind of trip a little bit. The next time you go to those steps, you're going to look down to see if it's there to take the next step. Precaution. You know, you're going to now get to that place and know that it's been, you know, you've hurt yourself there before. So you can kind of look at it different, right? It don't mean you're not going to go down the steps. It just means that when you get to that step that you tripped over, dang, let me look now. So it's going to take you a look back before you're now as confident in walking in that place as you were initially. It's the same way with relationships, right? So you may mimic, you may have some of the same characteristics of something before. You may be different because you are who you are, but because I've been hurt in that space before, because I've been hurt in that place before, it's going to take me a look back. Oh, wait a minute, a little caution before I approach it the same way as I did before, right? And so I'm saying all of these things because I need you to get that those people who had that hurt before and they failed before, they had to put themselves together again after that experience. It wasn't easy for some people. I can't give you everybody else's, but for me, peace in my life, in my heart, in my trust, in my worth back together after being broken, bruised, and hurt cost me something. And so I'm not going to be as easy to hand it over to a new person as I was before. It's nothing against you, but everything for me. So if you meet someone who's had shattered pieces, be patient. It's worth the wait because I'm definitely worth it all. However, my hurt got me to that place. The things that I endured, as proud as I am of my rebuild and my rebirth, I don't want to endure that process again. So that means I don't want to have to lose and be hurt again in this step. Because it hurt. It don't feel good. It requires work. It requires time. It requires tears. Right? And so if I'm going to put my shattered pieces together again, those, you know, have you ever broken a glass? When a glass break, and it go everywhere, regardless of how much you sweep, you never get all of the pieces, even the little ones. So imagine being a person that was once whole. Trust. I trust this person. I'm giving them all of me. And you give it over to somebody and they drop those pieces. It spreads. Even when I did the work to put me back together, there were some small pieces that were just not included, even once I made myself whole, because those pieces are forever gone. So I need people to understand that when you start a new relationship, and I'm doing this for the ages of where most of my viewers are, or where I am. So I'm 38. I've had relationships before. So imagine every time I dated, let's just say 6 people. Every time I dated those people, and if it was for a reason of them dropping me, how many pieces of me are missing by the time I get here? So if you ever dropped a piece and you really, really wanted it, you figured out a way to make it fit in a space, to make it convenient and make it feel whole, but there's still some holes, H-O-L-E, in those spaces of what looks to be whole, W-H-O-L-E. There are still some holes within this person that presents to be whole because of the times they were dropped. Again, it requires patience for trust now. So I need you to be patient, right? The person that you're dealing with probably requires some patience. Because first of all, I'm not probably willing to tell you all of my hurts, my pains, and my frustrations, because then I look like a woman with baggage, right? If I give you all of the times that I've been hurt, broken, busted, then it looks like, oh my God, I can't deal with her because she got too much. But if you allow me my process of, and it may come with questioning, and it may come with uncomfortable conversations, and it may come with not necessarily checking the phone, but hey, where were you? Because I need the reassurance that you are and you will do and be the things that you told me you were and that you're going to be. It's going to require some patience and some effort. for a relationship to work. Why are you bringing this up, Nicole? I'm bringing it up because even in business, right? Anybody who started a business, anybody who has just gotten to a place and you wanted to go to a mentor and you trusted that person and they didn't do the things that they promised you and you paid your fees or whatever, it doesn't mean that you stop getting mentored. It means that you have to rebuild your space to a place when it comes time for you to trust again that you're whole. Maybe with some holes, but you're whole in this. Right? And so across the board, again, like, why am I doing this? I'm reminding the person who's not whole to know their truth. But I'm also requiring the persons who are receiving these people to understand their truth. Understand that you may pretend and have a facade and have it masked that you good and all the way together. Maybe this is your first relationship, so you don't have none of these problems. But there are others who have endured a space and a place that is hard to trust. So I know for me, even in talking about friendships, not even just relationships, but in friendships, I have probably been the person that trusts everybody, right? So I don't make a person, I'm not even the person that say you earn it. I'm a person that want to give people the benefit of the doubt because I am who I am. And so I show up in friendship. If I say friend, then I mean friend. If I say sis, that's a whole nother place with a whole nother expectation for me. Right? I show up and I'm going to be genuine in that. The reality that I have been smacked in the face with a few times is everybody is not me. Right? So they may mean it as the cliche lingo as everybody else. So I can't hold them to that standard because that's what I am. But do I stop being me because they're not who they are? No, I have to still show up and be me. But I now have what they have created, which is sad for the new people that I meet, is there's a little boundary, right? A wall up. I don't take it as lightly. I don't move the same. And this is not even in, intimate relationship. I'm talking about friends. Because there was a trust that was broken. I gave somebody my truth and they dropped it. I gave somebody who I was in my heart and my time and my effort and they dropped it. I was trustworthy. I gave them pieces of me and they dropped it. Can you imagine having to clean up that mess and then somebody else wants friendship with you? No, it's going to require work. It's going to require time. And I'm going to hold them to a whole nother standard. I may even be standoffish. Although I'm super sweet once you meet me. I do try to find the great and good in people. But if that's in friendship, imagine a person who was broken in relationship, intimate relationship. They trusted this person. And that person dropped them. What does that mean? You keep saying drop them. And this person cheated on them, lied to them, broke off the relationship without any questions or any answers, beat them down about who they were and what they look like and how they move. But I trusted this person to build me. I gave them me. And they dropped me, shattered pieces. So after you deal with a relationship that shatters you, the next step is who's going to put you together? Me. So then what happens is that I put me together. I meet somebody else. I start dating. I'm guarded. They start mimicking some of the behaviors. I got you. I'm here for you. I'm guarded. So now instead of me watching them for 6 months, like I did in the beginning, I got to watch you for a year before I can even give you me. Be patient. But those of us with the shattered pieces, what we do have to do is learn to say out loud what our needs are. Because we can't expect for somebody to get it together for us if we don't know what we need. So in your process of rebuilding your shattered pieces, learn what it is that you need in relationship. Because it's going to be different. In that shattered pieces rebuild, you're going to learn that there are things that you need for you that you probably didn't know you needed before. Because you probably didn't need it before. You probably didn't care about where they were and who they with. This time around, you may need to ask that question, not in a judgy, bully type of way. But hey, babe, if you tell them at the beginning, this is my weakness, this is where I've been hurt, and that person hears you clearly, and you're able to say, look, I'm not trying to track you down, but it'll be nice I need mental of where you are. Or if you're not going to come straight home, can you just let me know? It's just a simple conversation. But if you say that at the beginning, versus assuming these people can read your minds and know what y'all need. Because the reality is, can't nobody read your mind. Don't nobody know what you need. Only you. You built yourself up this time. You built yourself up before you got into this next relationship or these friendships or this business partnership. It's up to you to tell the people what you need. As you're rebuilding these holes, right? Rebuilding to make yourself whole. You need to fill in these holes with your communication so that you can continue to become whole. This is going to be great for somebody who don't know what the meaning of all these different holes is. So WHOLE is complete. One, a hole. HOLE is like, you dig a hole. I'm just helping somebody for the people in the back of the place. But the goal is for a person who has put themselves back together in wholeness to understand their holes and gaps that were created because they were shattered before. But it's going to require a person who's willing to be patient and understanding and working to build great communication. But if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to have that conversation, if you're not willing to in your shattered place, say these things, mark them down, understand them, own them, because you can't fix what you don't own. You go out here tomorrow and you go try to cut your neighbor's grass for no reason. And you go try to close their door because they left their car door open. Or you go pick up one of their kids and they not yours. You can't fix what you don't own. Own it. Own where your weaknesses are. Own where you need help. And then go to fix it. I can't fix your car. I don't own that unless you bring it to me. So that's another thing. Unless you take it to them. When you're in, after you pick up your shattered pieces and fill in your communication, is it? If you sitting around in a relationship right now and you mad because they don't know you mad and you mad because they don't know what's going on in your head, you think that's their fault? They mad because you need a hug because your love language is physical touch. But they don't know that that's your love language. And you sitting there because they won't touch you and you're angry. But you didn't say out loud what it was because you assumed they're supposed to know. You out of order. But that's our shattered pieces that we forgot to fill up when we put us together that required us to use our mouth to ask for what we want. Because we use our attitude. I'm talking about us women. We use our attitude to say, you see, this nigga ain't right. They don't do what they need to do. They don't love me the way I'm supposed to be loved. They don't know nothing. Well, ain't nobody gonna know nothing if you don't say it. But back to the shattered pieces. So the shattered pieces, for those who are just joining, it came from being in a relationship with someone and you fully gave them yourself and you fully trusted them and they let you down. And they dropped you. You were super fragile. People don't realize that we as a people are fragile people. Yes, you're strong. I'm not taking that from you. But emotionally, there are some fragile emotions that happen when you give yourself to somebody that you trusted. And they do not handle you with care. They do not take the time to move you properly. Even if it was a breakup, even if it was a mutual breakup, there is still some animosities in the conversation if it's not handled with care. And so the goal today is to give you the space to, 1, be patient. And 2, learn to trust. Once your trust has been broken, it can be rebuilt. I don't necessarily know. I can't say with that person it can be. But in time, trust will come back if you open your heart for it. If you clean out the shattered piece and make it smooth in that rough place of where trust once was, it can exist again. For some people, it can exist again in the same relationship. That wasn't my story. However, I have learned to trust people again. A little different, maybe not as fast, but I'm also able to say out loud, hey, I've been hurt this way by people I've trusted. They don't have to know the story. They just have to know your truth. And a lot of times in shattered places, we tend to try to cover it up with all of the glue versus, sanding that thing down and making it smooth, because that is a part of who we are. It now can be blended in versus caked up. We can now out loud say the things that we need, say the areas where we're weak. But those who have to date us understand that this comes from a place of work. So it's not as easy for me to give it to you when I had it whole all on my own. So if I've been dropped in 6 relationships prior to me getting to you, know that's scary. At 40 years old, you done had at least, I don't really know, 2 relationships at bare minimum. I mean, if you're 40 and you haven't had any relationships, I don't know what you did. But at least one, even if, again, I'm not even talking about intimate relationships all the time. Even in friendship. There was a part of you that was lost. But once you identify it, once I rebuild myself, know that my rebuild cost me something. And it's probably going to cost you some patience to get to it. It don't make it fair. It just make it real. But the biggest part is knowing where you're weak at so that you can say that out loud, and then knowing what you need so that you can convey that to the person who is willing to be patient with you. The least you could do is set on what you need. The least you could do is tell them what you need, because you figured it out, because you pieced yourself together after the last break. You invested the time in yourself to put you back together. You pulled yourself up by your own bootstrap to become as great as you are today. And you're worth the other person dating you. You're worth the other person's time and effort. But they're also worth giving them some information to be able to be what you hold them accountable to being. Not just the thought that's in your mind that you expect them to know. So I hope this helped. I hope whoever, if you're dating someone who you think has shattered pieces, if you are the shattered person, give yourself some time, but also give yourself some credit. Job well done for piecing yourself together over these years. Way to go for realizing that I am enough. Way to go for realizing that you're stronger than you thought you were. Way to go for realizing that you're wiser than you believed. That you're stronger than you think. Now it's time to trust somebody. Trust them with you. Trust you enough to know that you're stronger in relationship than you were before. But they're worth you. And you're worth being happy with somebody else. Because you can definitely be happy alone. But if relationship is what you've been striving for and what you want, trust it. I won't promise you that it won't hurt. I can't promise you that it's going to be easy. But you'll never know if you don't try. So try. Try to love again. Try to meet somebody where they are. I dare you to just say out loud what you need and see if that person can do that for you. But they'll never know if you say nothing. And to the person that's dating the shattered pieces, I dare you to be patient. I dare you to continue to reassure them that you're there. Continue to show up as you do. Continue to be the person that you told them that you were. I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow, a month, but if you feel like they're worth the investment, invest the time. The longer you invest, the bigger the outcome. But those of us that are shattered pieces are worth the wait. But we're also worth the effort. So I hope this was good for you. If it was, share it, please. Invite people to our page. Share it on your page. Make comments. Make comments if you're the shattered person. Make comments if you're the person waiting for a shattered person to heal. Tell me your thoughts. If you don't agree, put that on here. If you repost it and you don't agree with it, I am open to that. Controversy wins all the time. These are only my opinions. I don't have a fact. I only have my thoughts, my experiences. And for some it's great, for some it's not. And I understand that, and I'm okay with that. Thank you guys for tuning in to Convo with Nikki. We will see you next time.